Today on Health and Retirement, we're going to take the time to talk about healthcare policy people often neglect in life, let alone when preparing for retirement. That policy? Cancer, heart attack, and strokes. Welcome back, everyone, to Health and Retirement, golden advice for your golden years. I'm your host, Trey Basa, a licensed health insurance advisor with Market Medicare Advisors, and today I'm joined by my good friend and coworker, Taylor Bevan from Market Tax Services. Taylor, welcome in. Happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining me. I know we don't do a whole lot of shooting with you, but I wanted to bring you in because we were talking about cancer, heart attack, and stroke policies with one of your clients a month or so ago, and it kind of sparked an interest in me and a couple other clients. Wanted to started having a greater conversation because we don't run into a lot of people that are coming to our offices wanting cancer, heart attack, or stroke policies. It's usually something that we have to bring up and then they have to start thinking about, they have to start considering. Before we get into the nitty gritty of our first segment, I want you to talk about yourself a little bit, Taylor. Make sure people know, as I like to say, I didn't just bring you in off the street. You are knowledgeable. You're a very, very knowledgeable woman, and I really appreciate what you bring to the table when we're having these kinds of conversations.
Yeah. So my name is Taylor. I do a few different things. Primarily, I actually started out on the tax side, but as most people know, that is seasonal. And so something that kind of fit really well with that is Medicare. And they kind of go hand in hand. So it just fit perfectly for that to be something that I can switch gears to. And more even involved with the cancer, heart attack, stroke policies. I specialize on the MAPD side. And so those are, some of those plans where we see this specific type of policy be mostly needed.
Mm-hmm. Those MAPDs, they do a decent job covering those particular diagnoses, but those costs really add up. So the cancer, heart attack, stroke policy by itself can come into play and really alleviate some of that financial burden and, quite frankly, the emotional burden that comes with those kinds of diagnoses.
Yeah.
To kick things off, today's episode is our first segment, In the Know. Market Medicare Advisors is dedicated to keeping you in the know with all things health and retirement. Our segment today is going to cover some of the unexpected costs that comes with cancer, heart attacks, and strokes. So I wanted to talk about this in particular because a lot of people don't think about the unexpected costs. Say, for instance, a heart attack. People understand that when you have a heart attack, you're hospitalized. You stay in the hospital for a while. But after that, you might need some physical therapy. Physical therapy that could last a couple of weeks just to get you back on your feet. Not to mention, you're for a lot of folks, you're out of work for those few weeks, getting back on your feet. And all of a sudden, you have a loss of income. You have more of a financial burden with all of these X, Y, and Z medical costs. They just add up.
Yeah.
So these cancer, heart attack, stroke policies can come into play. Let's talk about that. The unexpected costs, something I wanted to highlight was from right here. So things that can add up pretty quickly. Your deductibles, your co-payments, those can add up as you're experiencing all of these different things with these different diagnoses. Experimental treatments, not covered by your original insurance. Most definitely not covered by Medicare. Has to be approved.
Yep.
Transportation, getting from one place to another. If you have a lot of different, say, back and forth, a lot of different appointments, perhaps this policy can help alleviate some of that cost. Maintenance on your vehicle, gas, because as we know, you will be using your vehicle or friends and family's vehicles to get from one place or another. Why don't you take a couple more? We got.
Well, sometimes if you have to travel and go somewhere, you're traveling a distance and there's nowhere to stay, you've got lodging costs, the travel to get there. Did you drive? Did you fly? And then, when you talk about the person that is going through the medical issues, not being able to work, what about the person that's, having to take care of them if their significant other is also unable to work because they're having to stay at home to, help you do your day-to-day activities and get you out of bed and feed you and stuff like that. They also aren't having, being able to bring income in because they're not, being able to go and do the work and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the loss of two incomes just from one incident. And now all of a sudden you have to worry about recouping some of those costs. So people neglect cancer, heart attack, and stroke policies because they don't think about it until something happens to somebody in their inner circle, their friends or family, let alone, God forbid, anything were to happen to them or their significant other. So we want you to start thinking about these policies here and now. When we're looking at all of these different policies, we can get different premiums, different benefit amounts.
Yep, people, they really like the sound of that MAPD because it has the 0 monthly premium, but they don't think about anything for future down the road. And these policies for the cancer, heart attack, and stroke, for a minimal cost, you can be covered on some of those gaps that maybe people don't realize are in those MAPD plans.
And I want to dive into more the cancer route. On Medicare Advantage plans, you have a 20% copayment for any chemotherapy. That's built into the plan. That's what people agree to when they're signing up for that $0 a month plan. Now, chemotherapy can run quite the bill. And if people are paying for 20% for however long they're in treatment, they're going on a Medicare Advantage plan, they're going to hit their maximum out of pocket very, very fast.
Yep.
Now, if they were to, say, pick up a cancer, heart attack, stroke policy, you have a one-time payout of X amount of dollars. Now, I've seen policies range from as little as $5,000 as high as $75,000. Depending on that desired benefit amount is going to determine your monthly premium.
Right. And the policyholder can set that amount to fit whatever their financial needs are when they go and look at those policies.
When we're looking at somebody's financial requirements, we have to take into account what incomes are they going to be losing, what travel expenses are they going to incur. A good example would be for a cancer specialist. Perhaps you have a unique diagnosis or something that's not commonly treated in your area. Now, all of a sudden, you have to travel. You have to find lodging in another city, another state, and who knows how long that stay will be. Who knows how frequent that will happen when you're going through these diagnoses. These cancer, heart attack, stroke policies give you this benefit amount to help alleviate all of this emotional turmoil, all of this financial burden that we know as cancer.
Yeah.
So
chemo is a long process. It's not something that you just go and get done and then you're good to go. Usually it takes a few months at minimum. So
it's not a
that adds up.
Not a one and done deal. If it was, I don't think there would be any secret. I don't think there would be any use of having a cancer, heart attack, stroke policy. But unfortunately, we're not there yet. It's not a one and done deal. We have to invest a lot of time and money right now. That's why there's so many different levels of benefit. Why people can get as little as $5,000, as most as $75,000 for this benefit amount. It is up to the advisor and the individual to sit down and have a conversation. We don't have a crystal ball, but God forbid if anything were to happen, what would put you in the best place possible? So that's why we sit down and talk with folks all the time about it. And unfortunately, we get too many phone calls that are saying, hey, my significant other just had this episode. We'll say, had a heart attack. Is there anything that I can do now? Absolutely not. It's too late. You have to plan for the possibility. Now, again, don't have a crystal ball, But it is up to us to provide the options. Let them know that there are things out there, to get them thinking about these things, because as you and I both know, these things, they can happen to anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
Cancer, heart attack, strokes don't discern who they're going after or who they happen to. It is up to us to provide some sort of solution, alleviation of that potential burden in the future.
The peace of mind.
Exactly. It is very much a peace of mind policy. It's important to start thinking about it now because these kinds of policies will have a bit of underwriting. So the phone call example I just gave you, you will have some people call in and say, is there anything that we can do about now? Nope. I'm sorry. The incident has already happened. But if you knew that, say, you or your significant other have a history of XYZ, you can plan for it. If anything were to happen, you're covered. If not, good. That's the best route possible. Nothing happened to you. At the end of the day, it is insurance. You want to have it, not need it, versus need it and not have it. If you want to stay in the know with all things healthcare insurance, or perhaps have a professional review your policies, give us a call at 833-MAG-REPORT. That's 833-MAGREPORT. Or you can email us at mail@marketmedicareadvisors.com today and connect with us. Our next segment for the show is going to be the client case study, where we break down and explore client cases we're actively working on. Today's case features a man by the name of Phil. So Phil turned 65 last year. And Corey up in Kansas City did help him get all of his bits and bobs arranged. He was working, but decided that Medicare was going to be a better fit for him.
Yeah.
Now, he was actively working, moved to Medicare, and within 3 months, he had decided to sign up for Medicare, picked up a Medicare Advantage plan. He picked up a cancer, heart attack, stroke policy. And then, Taylor, you take it from there. What happened? This is a very unique case. We brought it up for a reason.
Yeah. So within 3 months, he had literally paid his first month premium on that cancer, heart attack, stroke policy. And right after that, Corey got a call and he got a cancer diagnosis. He's like, how is this going to work out? I've only paid them one premium. And Corey says, you paid the premium. The policy's in effect. You're going to get that payout. So he had set his cancer policy to pay out $5,000, and he made one of his monthly premiums. And just like that, they gave him that payout, and he was able to cover his out-of-pocket costs on that MAPD plan that he was on.
So this is really important to understand the timeline, because this first month payout was in the time span where he was still under a Medicare Advantage plan. But Phil had worked closely with Corey around his 65th birthday to switch off of that Medicare Advantage plan and onto a supplement plan, no problem. That's only because he was in that very, very delicate time frame. So again, Phil wasn't planning to get this diagnosis, but he wanted the protection of a policy because and he had to go through underwriting. Perhaps he had some sort of family history with this particular kind of cancer. But at the end of the day, he wanted that peace of mind.
Nobody plans on cancer.
Nobody plans on cancer. What did we say earlier? Just happens to anyone, anywhere, anytime.
Yep.
So Phil had made that decision to work with Corey to get that backup plan. And he worked with Corey to switch to a better covering plan. Like we talked about before, Medicare Advantage plans, you have a 20% copayment on any chemotherapy. So depending on how long or how short of a chemotherapy regimen
round.
yeah, however long that would have lasted, those costs would have added up, and that $5,000 would have only gone so far.
Yeah.
But he switched to that supplement plan. He got moved into a plan G, which after a $247 deductible last year, he moved into 100% coverage, no network restrictions. But now we go back to why cancer, heart attack, stroke policies come into play with both sides.
Yeah.
On the Medicare supplement plan, Phil now has to worry about, okay, how do I get there? Where do I stay when I'm getting XYZ? All of these different visits. Perhaps he had a specialist outside of his city he had to travel to, and those costs, they add up.
Yeah. I mean, anytime that you have something going on with you medically that's already stressful enough as is, you don't always have time to think about all of the extra little tiny things that are going to be affected by you, having to put your focus all on this current situation, and how are we going to get through this? Because once you get through this, what's left for you on the other side to have to deal with and take care of, because that adds a whole nother level of stress to people when they're already needing to be focused on something else than bills and, finances or transportation or food or, just equipment to be able to continue living or, get around. Are they going to need, a wheelchair? Are they going to need a shower chair so that they don't, slip and fall and stuff like that? There's just a lot of things that go into getting sick that people don't really always think about.
We've been throwing around cancer, heart attack, and stroke policies, but keep in mind that this is for all of those diagnoses, those three, because any one of these can be life-altering. And we want to make sure that our clients have the coverage that they need in order to make sure that they aren't having to worry about all of those medical bills piling up, to make sure that they're not running into additional stress in this very, very delicate time of need. When we're looking at an individual, we see them as people, and we make sure that we give them that peace of mind with a policy just like this. So if you have a question that we could explore on this show, or perhaps focus on a different client case that you have, please write us an email at mail@marketmedicareadvisors.com, and be sure to give us your name and city so we can shout you out on the show. And as always, you can give us a call and schedule a meeting so we can get to know you and your situation a little bit better. Because if there's one thing I know, it's Medicare is not for any family. It is always for the individual, and every individual is not the same. That's going to be it for today. Be sure to subscribe to stay tuned for more videos just like these for all your Medicare needs. Don't forget to like and share so you can help your friends and family by getting them the information they need to know about their Medicare policies. You can catch the show and our entire catalog of shows on our channel, youtube.com/@retirementhelp, where we archive all our previous recorded and aired episodes with professionals like Taylor from Market Tax Services or me from Market Medicare Advisors, as well as our in-house financial and estate advisors, coming together in one place to talk about how we're actively working with clients today to prepare them to live their best lives in retirement. I've been your host, Trey Basa.
And I'm Taylor Bevan.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Health and Retirement, the talk show of golden advice for your golden years. We'll see you next time.
Unless otherwise indicated, all client and prospect names mentioned on this show have been changed to protect the identities of the individuals discussed.
The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers. This is not endorsed or affiliated with any U.S. government agency, the Social Security Administration, or associated with any federal Medicare program. We do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All rights reserved.